These are the 7.2 notes for Algebra 2. We're going to talk today about factoring. There are three types of factoring. The first is factoring trinomials. Trinomial has three terms. So step one is you're going to find the numbers that multiply to give you the last term. So we want them to multiply to this 21 and add together to make the 10. Pick the combo that adds or subtracts to give you the middle term. So the numbers that multiply to 21 would be 3 times 7 and 1 times 21. The 3 and the 7 is the combo that's going to add or subtract to give you the middle term, 10. And so we would write our answer as x plus 3 and x plus 7. If you learned the x method in the 9th grade center, you could also use that where you put the 10 and the 21 in and then work to get the 3 and the 7. Example number 2, things that multiply to 35. 7 and 5 come to mind, but because I have a negative, I have to make sure that one of these is negative. They have to add to a positive 2, meaning the 7 is positive and the 5 is negative. Numbers that multiply to 27. 9 times 3 comes to mind. I notice I have a positive 27, so it could be either 9 times 3 or negative 9 times negative 3. Because I have the negative 12, it's got to be the both negatives. So just be careful as you do your signs. Make sure they do add up to that middle number. The next thing we have is called the difference of squares. You're going to square root any of the numbers, and you're going to have 1 plus and 1 minus as your factors. So square root of 49 would be 7. You're going to take the x squared and break it up into x and x. 7 and 7. 1 plus, 1 minus. X squared minus 4. You'll have x and x. Square root of 4 is 2. 1 plus and 1 minus. Square root of 121 would be 11. And again, 1 plus, 1 minus. And you can even switch around the plus and the minus if you want, as long as you have one of each. The next part is called greatest common factors. We're going to start by finding the greatest common factor, which is the largest thing we can take out of both numbers. And then you want to divide it out and see what's left. So 5x squared and 10x, my greatest common factor, I know both of these can be divided by 5. And I know each of them has at least one x in it. I have x squared and an x, so I'm going to take out an x from each of them. So I'll put a 5x underneath each. And then I want to put that greatest common factor 5x in front. Then I want to divide out to see what's left. So 5 divided by 5 cancels. X squared divided by x, you ask yourself, where are there more x's? There's one more at the top, so I put an x. Bring down the minus sign. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then the x and the x at the end cancel. Number 8, my greatest common factor here. Since both of them are a negative, I am going to use a negative as my greatest common factor. 3 can be divided by 12 and 9. And I'm going to take out the x to the third. So you're always taking out the smaller of the exponents. Divide each of these by negative 3x to the third. Put the negative 3x to the third in front. Always greatest common factor has to go in front. Then divide. The negatives cancel. 12 divided by 3 is 4. X to the thirds cancel out completely. Negatives cancel, so I bring down a plus sign. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And x to the fifth divided by x to the third. We subtract those. There are 2 more at the top. On example number 9, my greatest common factor, I have 8 and 7. I don't see any numbers that go into those besides 1. And we don't want to really use 1 as a greatest common factor unless we have to. So I go to my x's. I have an x and an x to the 6th, which means I'll take out just the x. Put the x in front. 8 plus 7x. Then I have 6 x's, x to the 6th at the top and x to the 1st at the bottom, which would leave me with x to the 5th. On the back side, you have some mixed practice. So what I would suggest doing is pausing the video and trying these 6 problems. Do as many as you can. That's going to give you the practice you need in order to get really good at this. When you're done, hit play on the video and see how you did. For the first three, the first one was a trinomial. The second one is a greatest common factor problem. And the third one was your difference of squares where you square root. Hopefully you got those three answers correct. Let's check the next three. All right, so number 4, greatest common factor, it was -5, and you divided that out. Number 5 was a difference of squares, so you had to square root those, 1 plus 1 minus sign. And number 6 was a trinomial. -6 and +4 will multiply to -24 and add to -2.